Hello everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. 'Tis I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my wonderful chat moderator and producer and graphic designer, DJ Martinez. Hello, DJ.
Hello.
What is new, sir?
What is new? Nothing much. I had a Tarzan day today. Did something really weird. Watched two Tarzan movies. I watched the 59 Tarzan the Ape Man, and then I watched the 31 Tarzan the Ape Man in that order.
That's cool.
I wish I would have switched them because the 59 one is just a crappier remake of the 32 version. It's not as good. I should have watched the 32 version first. I don't know why I watched them backwards, but
I was not aware that was called Tarzan the Ape Man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both are. That's why and because I watched them, but that's another reason why you know it's a remake of that one, because it's also called Tarzan the Ape Man. Very specific name. But,
I gotta tell you, the 50 things I thought you might say, that was not on my radar at all.
Well, I gotta keep you guessing. That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer questions and confuse the host.
Welcome, folks.
Questions.
Thanks for hanging out live. Thanks for watching after the fact. If you did that, we're going to do an hour-long show for you tonight, and then following that is Captain Logan After Dark with me and Austin and Brandon. So tune in for that. If you're on Patreon, just the $2 tier gets you access to that. That's patreon.com/geekvolution. Tonight, we are going to chat about whatever random crazy stuff you guys want to talk about. I made some topics, and we're going to see how far Austin and I can get playing cooperatively in Donkey Kong Country, and we're going to see if we can beat that game this evening while we're chatting with you guys. That's the plan. So pop in for that. That'll be a good time. Tonight is just a regular, casual Ask Me Anything show. It seems like we've been doing a lot of themes and lead-in topics lately, and I really wanted to just open the floor to you guys and talk about whatever is on your minds. A real low-key kind of mellow show tonight. So if you want to make sure that your question or topic is discussed on air, you can leave a super chat in a dollar amount, and we really appreciate everybody who has done or ever will do that. You guys are wonderful. Thanks a lot for helping us keep the train running here on the channel. We are supported very much by the viewers. 85 to 90% of what keeps us going is the viewership. So we really, really appreciate you guys. But if you can't do that, or you don't want to do that, never fear. We really appreciate you just being here, of course. So no pressure on that. You can leave a pre-written question. DJ's already got quite a few of those tonight, and we're going to try to do as many of those as we can as well. So we're going to start right there, because I don't see any super chats yet. No lead-in topic. So we're going to go right to you guys. And DJ, what is the first topic? You know what I want to say? I want to act like we were doing a game show, like Price is Right. What is the first item up for bids tonight on the Captain Logan Show?
Well, if I watch more game shows, I could probably give you a more clever answer to that lead-in, but
I was really proud of that, too.
Real quick, people are saying that the audio's off a little bit tonight. They're saying I'm low and you're a little high, and
it's weird.
A little bit.
The settings are exactly what they were last time. Isn't that strange?
Yeah, it always seems to do that, too.
Maybe the mic is a lot closer to my face somehow. I don't know, but I just turned DJ up a little bit, and I just turned myself down a little bit. Hopefully that helps. DJ, you might want to turn your gain up on your Yeti just a little bit.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't want to.
Unless it's just already up to the.
Once I start asking questions, I get a little louder. I notice, so I don't want to turn it up and then start yelling at Cap.
Alex Barron, I'm used to it. It's fine. Alex Barron, I say we talk about Powerpuff Girls for another hour, or no, Powerpuff.
Yeah, that was surprisingly successful. But we don't want to push it.
And also, I'm really tired of slashing my own wrists. So, they need a break.
Wow, starting off on a dark note tonight.
Hey, did you see my new mug, DJ? Check out my new mug. It's one of these, I want to say color change, but it's like a picture appears in the heat. So that Joker face there isn't there when it's cold, but then shows up in the heat. My wife bought me this, and that's a cool one. The coolest one I ever had, though, and I don't have it anymore, but it was a mug. I think it was a mug where if it gets hot, it was a Star Trek mug, and there is a Klingon bird of prey that decloaks. And it's cloaked when you don't have anything in your cup, but when you heat it up, then it decloaks. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, those are cool. I want to get one of those. It also reminds you to drink your tea before it gets cold, because once it starts fading like that.
I think that was originally kind of the idea when those were invented.
Yeah, but then it just turned into pretty pictures to sell mugs,
Like
as merchandise
everything.
often does.
Yes, precisely. Mutale cap slashes his wrist for our entertainment. Well, not on camera. I think that would be way too dire, and I would probably get booted off YouTube for that. I don't think I could get used. I could get used to that. Well, I certainly couldn't get used to that. After a while, I would be dead. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
We shall. Let's move that right along.
I'm in some sort of a mood tonight. I don't even know how to describe it.
All right.
Alex says my audio is still clipping. I don't know what that's about. I'm just gonna move this. I'm gonna move this microphone.
It's kind of like choppy.
I'm gonna
me.
come
not that
way
you're
back
loud
here.
For me, but it's kind of like is it like coming out or something? I don't know. I think I see what they're saying though.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. It's not showing that I'm in the red on my slider anymore. I was, but
Let me go with Rohith Dahar. Cab DJ.
Hi.
What is your favorite James Bond movie and why?
Oh, yeah, that was asked probably the same guy the other day, and we didn't get to it, so I'm glad that came up. Mine is at this point, at least story-wise. I mean, certainly not like performance-wise, but it's on Her Majesty's Secret Service, because there's a real good arc for Bond in that movie, and it's much more of a like real honest-to-God traditional narrative, and I really appreciate that. I just think it's a wonderfully dramatic film. But the one I have the most fun with is probably. Well, I used to be Thunderball, and then I saw Man with the Golden Gun and loved it. And that was a movie that I always wanted to see, because I just thought that the title was cool and kind of provocative, and when you play the old 64 GoldenEye video game, there's a mode in that where whoever's got the golden gun, one shot and you're dead. And I always was, as a kid, I was like, oh, that movie must be awesome. And then I told Eric that and at some point he and I are going to get back to, and when I say he and I mean Eric reviewing the movies and me just standing there to push a button. And I might review some of them with him, but we are talking about bringing that back at some point. We just haven't gotten around to it. He's been too busy at work and we haven't been able to see each other much. But anyway, we were doing a series for a while on the Bond movies, and I told him that was one that I wanted to make sure and watch with him. I was kind of cherry picking, and I was doing some of them but not others, and there were a couple that he said I absolutely had to see. They were quintessential. That was not one of them. And he was like, why do you want to see that one so bad? And I was like, I don't know, it sounds like a cool idea and I really want to see it. And when I finally watched it, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And I was like, Eric, what are you talking about? This is great. Now, the coolest thing about Man with the Golden Gun is not actually in Man with the Golden Gun, unfortunately, but I still think it's a really fun movie. It's got really great set pieces, and it's got an insane, like, labyrinthian villain layer that it I think bookends with, if I remember, and I love that whole thing. But there's this whole gimmick in that where the golden gun is supposed to be made of a bunch of like household items, so you could take it apart and nobody would know that it was pieces of a gun, and then when you put it together, it's a gun. And the prop was that way, but they didn't actually utilize it that way in the movie. I'm going off of like 3-year-old memories now, so somebody stop me if I'm wrong about this, but that's what I'm remembering. And there was like I said, the prop was that way. So if you were on set and you took that apart, you'd have that. And I wish they left it in the movie, because that was the coolest idea of that. But I still loved it even regardless of that. It is one of the goofier ones in some ways, but I enjoy that one a lot. And GoldenEye I liked a lot when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And I tried to go back to it like 8 or 10 years ago, and I watched the first 20 minutes, and I was kind of bored with it, and I didn't finish it. But it's not fair to go off of that memory, because I didn't finish it. So I don't know, but that movie was huge when I was a kid.
Yeah, and to answer your question, mine is Skyfall, and to the why is because I've only seen the first 3 Craig films.
Oh wow!
So that
sure.
would be the default answer if you've only seen those 3.
And of course, I love Skyfall. Yeah. And I don't, whenever that question comes up, I don't think to go to Skyfall, because it's kind of the obvious answer for me, and I've actually seen some other Bond movies since then, so I don't even think to mention it. It's like, it's so obvious, because it's the Dark Knight of Bond films. Like, of course I love that movie. Hi, Austin. Dagos there in the comments. Man with the Golden Gun has one of the coolest car stunts of all time, and it's ruined by the soundtrack. That is true, because when it spins, there's a slide whistle.
Are you serious? Oh, that is literally the only thing I remember from your guys' Bond videos. And I was about to say, is there a slide whistle jokingly because of that joke, and I didn't realize that that was where it was. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm not a big James Bond person, but Eric schooled me when he was living with me, and so now I actually have answers to some of those questions, although some of those movies really do blend together for me. Anyway, we're only doing an hour-long show. I need to get a little bit more lickety-split with these answers. What else have we got, DJ? Let's see what kind of a gamut we can run tonight. What kind of a potpourri, if you will, we can cover of
nice spattering
of different sorts of it'll be like paint splatters. You know, we'll just pick up a paintbrush and splatter on the floor and see what topics we wind up with. Yes, exactly.
Here we go. Daniel Davis' favorite turn your brain off and just enjoy the ride film. His is Commando.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that movie.
Suburban Commando?
I saw commercials for that 150 times when I was a kid.
I think it was on Ninja Turtles because I saw it a million times.
Was it on Ninja Turtles?
It was on something that I only had on VHS because I've seen it a million times. And he's like, "I was frozen today," and it shows him like in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Quote like half of it.
Boy, I feel like that's not right. I feel like it was something else, but I can't think of what it was. But yeah, I've never seen that movie. Wow, just turn your brain off and enjoy the ride film. What? I don't know if anything comes to you immediately, DJ, because you always like to say I'm not really a big action movie guy.
Not immediately, but no, I have this more with like fantasy stuff.
Oh.
I'll say this. I don't know if this is my number one, but it does come to mind because everyone hates this movie, and I enjoy it for the ride. Is the second Pirates movie. I don't know why. Like, I just like the crazy over-the-top action on like a giant wheel on a random island where they're just like sword fighting on a wheel, and then there's that crazy other island where they're like climbing in the cages up the wall and like swinging back. It's just outrageous. It's amazing.
It's outrageous. I'm going to say Independence Day is in there, although that's not a movie I go back to all the time, but it was a big movie for me when I was a kid, and it's not brilliant or nothing, but it's still fun to occasionally go back to. Matrix Reloaded is probably my classic answer for that, because I love watching that movie, but like it's not good. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess my I guess the real obvious answer for me that I'm sure people expect me to say, and this is probably the correct one if you're me, is 89, because you know, that movie doesn't actually make a lot of sense ultimately when you get to the end of it. And when I was a kid, I thought that was a very smart film. But, you know, some of these things I guess I go back to for nostalgia as much as the ride, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have that. Like, when you say I don't ever have that, what I usually have, I don't have it like with, like, so bad they're good movies. That's not something I do a lot. But, like, movies that I liked when I was a little bit younger and I can just turn my brain off and go along for the ride. I still have that a little bit, but
Cinematographic says Power Rangers the movie. I definitely have that with that, certainly.
Well, last time we watched that together, we had a great time with that. That was a really fun watch.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. But again, I don't know if I would call that a ride so much.
No,
I guess that's a word when you're talking about, you know, cinema that you can apply to whatever experience you're having with the thing, though, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a roller coaster to call it a ride. There's a lot of different kinds of rides, you know. There's the like like really really silly goofy ride, or the trippy ride, or the wow, I got all this emotional whiplash throughout this movie, so it took me on a ride. You know, I wasn't expecting it to go this way and then this way and then this other way.
Yeah, well, and Power Rangers is fun. If we were talking over it, I would never watch it like by myself and then just sit and enjoy the ride. I would need someone to talk and make
you're not going to watch that earnestly. Phantom Menace is certainly one of those for me.
Dennis the Menace, wow.
No, Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay, you cut out the first part and all I heard was Menace, and I was like...
Phantom Menace. What is going on with our connection tonight?
Sorry. I don't know, it's a little weird.
Because you've been fine until just now.
Right.
Just when that happened, you cut out for a second.
Well, it was for comedic effect.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. It looks like we got some super chats now, so we can jump over there if you want to, and then get back to Written here in a little bit.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
11
popping in. Hi.
Do you think it's dangerous for studios to surrender to fan demands of redoing or creating original work to satisfy them, etc.? Dexter and Justice League. I think he meant like example.
Yeah. Let me look at this closely. For studios to surrender to fan demands of redoing a creator's original work to satisfy them, is that what we're doing with Dexter? Or are we just doing another series, another season of that show?
I don't know. I know people hated how that ended. But I don't know if that was the reason.
Sure. Yeah, like those are not the examples that immediately would have come to me with what the question actually was. Like, I don't know that I agree that that's what's going on with Justice League either. Like redoing, or do you mean? I guess he's talking. Okay, I get what he's talking about. So with Justice League, he means like the Snyder Cut thing, where people didn't respond well to BVS, so they felt the need to take what a creator was doing and try to transform it into something else. If that's going on with Dexter, I didn't know that, or if that did with the end of that or whatever, I didn't know that. But anyway, yes, of course that's dangerous. Or if not dangerous, just a giant misstep if you're trying to make money. It doesn't tend to work out real well. Like, DJ, can you think of any really good examples in history where we know for sure that somebody took like a creator's work and like massively transformed it into something else, just using like what was there already, made it something totally different, and it ended up performing better than it would have, or ended up being a better piece than maybe it would have? Like, it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. The question is a little confusing because I thought the way he was going was giving into fan demands to get it more closer to the original, like the Sonic thing or like the Zack Snyder Justice League thing. But he's saying, yeah.
And I might be misinterpreting the question. The examples took me on a trip. I went on a ride with this question.
My favorite question to just sit back and take you on the ride. Yeah, I think that's what he means. I think he means like with Zack Snyder's Justice League, they gave in to fans' demands to release it, to redo it, to remake it. So they're remaking the one that was released. I think that's what he means.
Yeah, and if he wants to clarify this, that would be cool. And don't feel the need to do it as a super chat. We'll look for your for your comment. But I don't know if he's talking about that or if he's talking about listening to fan demands in going back and releasing the original thing, because that was more of a demand thing, right? Where like there was a group of fans, of course, as we all know, with Zack Snyder's Justice League, that were like, we don't like what we got, and we wanted to see what the original artist was trying to make. So get that out, and then they felt compelled to do that for whatever reason. With that particular example, as we all know at this point, I think that had a lot less to do with giving in to fan demands and a lot more to do with a new company coming in, taking over and going, well, we have this thing that we could release relatively cheaply while we're trying to sell a streaming service when we don't have a lot of original content, so let's go ahead and do that. Like you had to have a really specific playing field before that would happen. Warner's didn't want that to ever see the light of day, and that wouldn't have happened. So I apologize. I don't 100% know what we're talking about. Let's go ahead and move on to...
Yeah, but and like you said, the problem there is that was very specific circumstances. So the problem is they may have not been giving in to fans, but that's what fans think. Is they think they gave into them, so now they're harassing them even more to restore the Snyderverse and all that.
And that gets complicated in a couple in different ways, right? Because you have one. And everybody's split down the middle these days. We're so divided. You've got one side, I should say faction, because it's not one side or the other. There's this whole middle ground of people who don't care. We always forget those people. But you've got one faction that goes, okay, they released the Snyder Cut, so, and this is where, if this is what we're talking about, this guy might be thinking, this is dangerous. You've got one faction that says, well, we can control them now, like whatever we want. This idea of like fans absolute authority. We own these properties because we pay for them, and that's true to some degree. But I mean, it's somebody's or should be somebody's creative vision. At some point, sometimes these things get compromised to the point where we can't hardly call them art, or at least it's not art in the way that it once was before it got so, muddled and watered down or whatever, and too many cooks in the kitchen or whatever. But what you end up with that side, or with that faction, as I'm calling it, is we think that we should be able to get companies to do whatever we want with a thing because we're paying for it, and that's kind of an entitled attitude, I think. And then and now there's precedent for it, so they can keep, release the air cut, release the whatever, and then on the other end of that, you have people who are like worried about the fact that actually got done, that fans were able to, if you want to look at it that way, take control and make that happen, and they're not going to trust the work anymore because they're gonna think that everything's gonna be made by committee, and not just committee at a studio level, but Twitter and Reddit, and like movies are gonna be written by Reddit now. We've also seen that happen with that last Star Wars movie to some degree. So anyway, I'm not totally sure if that's what he wanted us to talk about.
Well, he put in another super chat. I'm going to jump ahead to it real quick.
Thanks.
Manus 11. I mean, in general, fans not liking the finished product of a work, e.g. Game of Thrones fans demanding they redo season 8 to have a better ending.
Redoing it. Okay, so actually legitimately or straight up redoing a thing. I'm sorry, the Justice League example kind of threw me. So yeah, I don't know if it's dangerous. I don't see it ever actually happening. Like, I think we have to wait until that precedent is set and that really does happen, because I don't think that's ever happened in history. We've had things retconned in a continuity retroactively, of course, with like the Halloween example, the Terminator example, a couple of times with Halloween, where you'll go back and go, well, people didn't like these particular things, or like later entries in a franchise or in a series, or it feels like we jumped the shark so hard we can't build on that stuff, to throw it out. It is remarkable that the last Rocky movie and the later Creed movies haven't done anything to directly retcon Rocky 5, because it should be impossible to come back from that. But we pretty much just ignore it. But it's still technically in there. But anyway, so you have those examples where we'll like retcon a thing when we want to try to keep making money from it. But I don't know that there is any real incentive, DJ, for a studio or a network to go back to a movie or a season of TV that people weren't happy with and give them what they'd rather have. There's not any money in that. Like, how many people are actually going to go back to the theater or tune in again after they've seen a thing? Is like, oh, Justice League is a horse of a different color. That's a weird situation, because people were curious about that because it was something that was more or less finished, where the final product was so different from that we never got to see it, and we could tell that was mismanaged, and people didn't like that thing at all. And yeah, people didn't like the last season of Game of Thrones, but it's not like there's this whole other thing laying around, and what they put out instead was this like miscalculation, where it's like, well, we don't think that what we made is going to sell, so we're going to put out this other thing that we hope will sell better. So DJ, I'm going to say it's not dangerous because I don't see it ever happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. Somebody said that the writers or HBO has said they'd be open to redoing Game of Thrones once there's more source material. That's from Kendo Tor. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a smart move.
And then I'm going to have a hard time not saying case by case like I always do and kind of comping out, because in that particular situation, that actually might be smart, because people loved that material. It was, and I've not seen 1 second of Game of Thrones, so I have no dog in this fight, and all I know about the last season is that everybody hated it and it was apparently nonsense. But I've not seen it, so I can't speak to it. But what I do know about that show is that Martin had written the novels up to a certain point, and then when they ran out of material, because he never finished the series, they kept going with it and they had to make things up, and people weren't happy with what they came up with. arguably what people were happy with before that was as much Martin as it was the showrunners and the writers of that show. So if people were wanting to see how the original writer was going to finish that whole thing, and if he ever actually does finally write that last book, or last couple, or however much he's got left to write, I could see, if it's not too far from now, if you could get the actors back, and if they're not too old, whatever, going back and redoing that stuff and just discounting the rest of it, because people see all of that as a mulligan. It doesn't count. It's stupid.
That would be great. Could you imagine having 2 season 8s?
No, it would be insane. Yeah.
Insane.
And yes, that might kind of set a precedent, and I could see a person being of the opinion that maybe this is dangerous, but in that particular case, I could see why HBO would consider doing that, because it was such a massive moneymaker for them, and in that particular case, I think that actually would probably would give them a turnout. People would come back for that, and that, I don't know, that particular thing might be smart. But then the question is, I'm sure on a lot of people's minds, but if we set that precedent, if we open that floodgate, could fans show up and make people like compromise their creative visions just in order to satiate them? I don't think so. This is a case where I don't think so much. This is a case where the fact that it's a commercial medium actually might work out in the favor of the art itself to some degree, because DJ, if there's not any money in it, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah, it's the further we get away from that show being a cultural phenomenon, it's going to be harder and harder to be motivated to do that.
And that's true too. Yeah. I mean, there are things that I certainly would like to see this for. Like, if we decide, I've talked about this before, if it was decided to straight up retcon the last 3 Star Wars movies and make new episodes 7, 8, and 9s, that's another case where I could see that working out in their favor and could sell well. But we also, we also vote with our wallets with this stuff. So is it, like how much of it is, the vocal minority on Twitter? Because obviously that is a problem with, things getting too politicized and such, where you've got, in comics and other mediums, a lot of poor decisions, it seems like, being made because of a few people on Twitter, and it feels like they are running the world sometimes, and that's a problem. But as far as, redoing a thing, Is it the people speaking out against something, or is it just that it didn't sell well? Because we do have some control in that way. If we're not buying the product, and if they're afraid of the future of a franchise, of a major thing like Star Wars, where they hope that they can keep making them forever and ever, something like Star Trek that way as well, then it might make sense to go back and pave over a timeline. And technically that would be remaking things you made before, but if you did a new 7, 8, and 9 for Star Wars, they would be completely different stories with a totally different cast. And so it would be different than remaking them. You would just go, okay, this counts now and this other thing doesn't. And again, we have done that in history. There are, 2 Halloween 2s? Oh no, 3! There's 3 Halloween 2s. Because there's Halloween 2, and then there's Halloween, and then there's Halloween. Both of which are sequels. Or no, there's Halloween 2, there's Halloween 2, and then there's Halloween, which is also Halloween 2. That's what it is. Anyway.
My brain is fried. Here's a quick one from John Ty.
Absolutely.
When are you and Eric going to review IDW TMNT?
The answer to that is eventually. And I'm sorry, but I just can't give you a time because of my home situation now. Eric and I are not recording at the moment. We had been stacking Ultimate Spider-Man, and I need to get those edited and posted, and I just have not had time to sit down and edit, and I don't know when that's going to happen yet, and I apologize for that. And then we have to finish reviewing that before we can get to more TMNT. We actually have recorded the second volume of that, which we're reviewing the big, massive tomes of those. So it's like 20 issues at a time. So when we finally get to those, it won't take too long to get through the whole thing. It won't be too many videos, I should say, because we're doing them so many issues at a time. But we're doing those releases where it's everything in order. So it's not just the main Ninja Turtles IDW series, it's all the minis and all the one-shots and all of that. And so we'll be speaking at least slightly to each of those things as we go along. But we've got to finish Ultimate, and I just don't know when that's going to happen yet because I don't have my evenings free at the moment. So eventually is the answer to that.
All right, Ryder, $2. Hashtag release the Ayer cut.
Yeah, I don't know how much I care about that. Like, if it comes out, I'll see it for the same reason I saw the Snyder Cut, for historical curiosity. A lot of the things that don't work about that movie have to be in the Ayer cut still. So I think it's likely to be a situation where it makes more sense, or it's better structured, better edited, but still has just a lot of, like, misfire ideas from the beginning. Like, I don't like that the choice of some of the cast in that. I doubt if, even with all of the extra Joker footage, if he really has that much to do with the current story. Like, the story in present day. Like, I imagine a lot of what's left on the cutting room floor is still more flashback material. May not be, but that certainly doesn't. I don't see where he would fit into the main narrative in that. It really doesn't look like he has that much to do with anything, except for the whole breakout with Harley Quinn at the end of that. That might suggest that he had more to do in the actual narrative, but I don't know how much there really is. So I would be very, very surprised if that was anything like a Justice League situation. And of course, that has the same, like, cookie cutter narrative as the theatrical cut, but the tone of it is so different. It's not going to be that. I bet the tone's not all that far. The flavor of that is not all that far off. But I'd love to see what the original soundtrack idea was for that, because I doubt if it had as much popular music as it ended up with when they kind of Guardians-ified it. But yeah, so I mean, it's a curiosity, but I'm not as curious about it as I was with Justice League. And I would be surprised if Warner's bothered with it, because the news lately has been that the Snyder Cut didn't perform as well on HBO Max as they were hoping it would, and so it was not a big phenomenon. It didn't blow anything out of the water. What I read was that Godzilla vs. Kong beat its whole first month run in its first week, numbers wise. And so I doubt seriously if that's going to lead to anything else, be it more Snyder stuff, or they're doing that again with other movies with a bunch of material that's left on the cutting room floor. Don't get me wrong, I would like to see that, but it's not a huge, giant deal to me if we never see it. Justice League would have been strange to never have seen that, especially now that I've seen it.
All right, TH1, $5. I recently got into DC Universe Infinity. What is the coolest thing you found on there?
I saw him at Infinite, yeah. So that, of course, is the restructuring of DC Universe, where it's no longer a streaming service. Now it's just comics, and I don't think I've discovered anything really interesting there, Tom. Most of what I've read is just stuff that I was after anyway, that I was just looking up. I haven't really done a deep dive where I'm trying to discover anything I didn't know about already. It's just been kind of a convenient thing, and it's been nice that it's got, it's not everything DC ever released, but it's a really good library of stuff. I mean, the best thing on there that I've read that I hadn't read before was Harleen, but that's recent. I would have read that in some way, even if it wasn't that way. But yeah, I haven't really discovered anything there that I can think of that I didn't know about already. Sorry, I don't have a more interesting answer than that, but I've used it as a really useful tool.
That's fine, because he has a second half of that question.
Yeah.
Have you read Injustice: Gods Among Us? If so, thoughts. You're the best.
Thanks very much, Tom. I have read the first volume of that 3 times because I keep so that's split up into years, which is kind of neat. So each volume of that is a year's worth of time. And then they did an Injustice 2, which is not formatted that way, and there's a prequel series, and there's probably some other stuff at this point that I don't even know about. But there was a crossover with Masters of the Universe. There's some weird stuff they did. But the first year of that I've read 3 times because I keep meaning to read more of it, and I'll read it with plans to review it, and then something will come up and I won't get around to reviewing it. And then when I get ready to move on, I've got to read it again so that it's fresh in my mind to go in a year or two. So I think I've read maybe the first 3 or 4 issues one time of the second year. Like, I think I got that far finally. But yeah, so I'm very familiar now with that first year.
Here's $5. Pops in with a $5 super chat.
Thanks, man.
With a question.
What? Well, that blows my mind.
Question for Cap.
Yeah.
Do you have $5? If not, well, you do now. Here's $5.
Well, thanks, man. I was pretty broke. I gotta be honest with you. And then $5 came in. No, I do. I have $5.
He was going to break his streak and ask an actual question.
Well, I was afraid that maybe he was like asking for money, and then I wasn't sure how. I wasn't sure how donating was going to help him. I felt kind of bad about it. Where it's like, in order to get our attention to let us know that he needed $5, he had to give us $5 first, which kind of defeats the entire purpose. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
DeJuan Patterson Powers, $9.99.
I'm so glad we know how to say his name.
This is a follow-up to a Superman question.
Okay.
I meant Superman not being a god-like figure, because there are beings far more powerful than him, like reality warpers.
Oh, he's talking about the question the other day where was that the same super chatter where he was asking us what the biggest like misnomer with Superman was, and then he gave us a few examples, but I wasn't totally sure. Was it that question? Yes, I agree with you, and I've said that before. It is, and I apologize for repeating myself, but this is my favorite thing to say when this comes up, so I'm going to say it again. Please indulge me, DJ. It is preposterous to me that we act like Superman is so insanely powerful that nobody buys that he could be a good person, because of course he would take over the whole world with his unlimited, seemingly unlimited ability, regardless of the fact that we know he's not. He is limited. There are some Superman things that don't know that, or that change that, where he can like juggle planets and stuff, where he gets way too overly powered, where he really is a god, or where you've got things like I always bring up, Superman 2, where we just keep giving him a power that we need him to have to progress the narrative, that kind of thing, or even BVS, where I'm not sure what the limitations of his powers are, because sometimes he seems more, modern limited, and sometimes it seems, he can hear somebody half a world away, that kind of thing. But I don't understand with just all things being equal, let's say like your standard like 80s or 90s like John Byrne Superman, where he has real specific limitations to his powers, he can't juggle planets. Is everybody horrified, and I mean like in the real world, talking about him as a god, or even sometimes in the continuity? How are people so horrified that he's going to take over the world because he's so powerful, but nobody's worried about Martian Manhunter? Like, I don't get that. And characters like that, because Martian Manhunter's not as durable and invulnerable as Superman, but there's all kinds of things he can do that Superman can't that should make him scarier. Like, at some point, it seems like just a matter of number of really powerful abilities, where people freak out about Superman because he has like 8. It's like, oh my god, 8's the magic number, right? Martian Manhunter's like, he's got close to that too, though, right? Like, when you've got a guy who can phase through solid objects, like, he's not invulnerable in the sense that if he's not thinking about phasing, you could maybe shoot him, and of course he's susceptible to fire, which makes him no more powerful than a vampire, but at the same time, he can phase through solid objects, he can turn invisible so you can't see him, he can look like you or me, he also can fly. Like, there are a number, that's just always the example I go to. He's right, there are a number of other characters that we should be just as worried about being able to take over the planet, or just that we might not buy that they wouldn't let their powers corrupt them, because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But also, as he suggests, there are other, I agree 100%, there are other characters in the DC universe that are 1,000 times more powerful than Superman. But I think the reason that people aren't as scared of them is because they're just not they don't have their own books very often. They're like people in the background that occasionally we bring in, like, oh, look how powerful this person is. But we're not we're not constantly following them, and they're not, and most of them aren't supposed to be like, human characters with like a heart and a soul. Which of course should make them scarier, but the scary thing with Superman is complacency. It's we're not worried about this guy because he has our best interest at heart, and then we build a culture of dependence around them. You don't have anybody building a culture of dependence around, like Mr. Miracle or somebody, or Dr. Fate is who I was thinking of. Yeah.
AMC Comics just popped in the chat. It says, hey guys, haven't been in one of these streams in a while. How's it going?
Good to see you. We is great.
Yeah, we're doing good. All right, James Egan, DC Mania, including the new Batman movies.
Real quick, Rahit the Hard. Martian Manhunter is unfortunately a less popular character, so that point isn't brought up. Also, you can kill Martian Manhunter with fire. Kryptonite is harder to find to kill Superman. I mean, yeah, your points are valid. It depends on the continuity. Sometimes Kryptonite is the easiest thing in the world to find. One of my
necklaces.
I've been going back through season 1 of Smallville with my son because he's never seen all of it, and the episode with Shawn Ashmore, where he Leech, where he gets Clark's powers, is hilarious, DJ, because they're out on a scavenger hunt for rocks in the teaser of that episode, and they're looking all over the place for meteor rock, and people can't find meteor rock, and I'm like, it's Smallville. It's everywhere, and like they're acting like that's hard to get your hands on, and there's a couple other episodes where it's like, oh my god, where are we gonna get meteor rock? I'm like, anywhere. Like the second episode, there's a quarry that's like full of it, and there's this area that Clark always used to avoid because when he was a kid, he got sick and he didn't know why. Go over there and grab some. He was sick every time he was there. It really cracks me up. But yeah, I'm just saying that, like, if you know your comics at all, and you're making that argument with Superman, and we're talking about the broader DC universe, and this is a nerdy argument, I give you. It is a little silly to act like Superman is the most powerful thing there is. Now, if we're talking about a situation, like the Christopher Reeve movies or something, where I can hear myself. What was that?
Sorry about that. That was my speaker.
If we're talking about something like the Christopher Reeve movies, where he is the only like superpowered character on the planet, then I get why people might be concerned about that. But I don't just hear this from non-comic people, is the thing. Like, I could see that as really easy cannon fodder against that character, if you're on the outside looking in and all you've seen is movies and stuff. But like, I still hear this from like comic readers, and I've never understood that.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, James Egan.
Anyway, sorry, I paved over a super chat. DC Mania, I don't know that we'll ever do that. I know there's a lot of people that have suggested it and asked for it. We already did a Batmania with all the Batman movies, and I think it would be kind of weird to go in and just be like, well, here's all the other movies in DC that we've not done. The reason Marvel was kind of fun and more interesting is because there were a couple of like actual, honest to God, continuities in there, where we could keep discussing these ongoing narratives as we went, and then kind of sprinkle in singular one-off pieces. That's what was fun about that for me, and Batmania had that to a lesser degree, oddly, with like 3 or 4 different continuities. If we did it with DC Mania, it would be a lot more one-off things, and more movies that I'm not going to be as excited to have to, as jazzed to have to sit down and watch, because DC just doesn't have as good of a track record overall. There are just a lot more bad movies there, and a lot more kind of like bottom of the barrel, just kind of crappy things to have to sit through. And I think I had also done, well, that's probably not true. I was going to say, I think I had, when we did Marvel Mania, I think I'd done more of, at that point, the commentaries on DC movies than some of those Marvel movies. I actually don't know if that's true, now that I'm thinking about it. But, like, I already have commentaries on all the Superman movies. We wouldn't do Batman again, because we already have a Mania for that. And there are a number of DC movies that I'd like to eventually get the commentaries on, DJ, but I don't know that I need a series for it. So, I mean, I'm not 100% against it. Like, I don't know, somebody could convince me, but at the moment, that's just not a big priority for me. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, and I wouldn't.
Because you'd be the other
co-host
guy.
Do it because I'm not. Unless we did it from like first person like perspective on getting into DC, because I'm not a huge DC guy, so it'd be more like you introducing me to things. So I don't know if I'd be the guy to do it, even if we did do it.
And it would be introducing you to a lot of crappy things. So much
like
of it.
Not the best versions of them. So.
Yeah, we'd have to go back to Catwoman, and like there's again, there are some things in there that I would like to do commentaries on, because obviously I'd like to do commentaries on everything I've ever done a rewind on, and things I'm going to do rewinds on, whether I do those first or after the eventual rewinds happen. But like DJ and I have talked about doing Watchmen for over a year now, and we will at some point finally
do that.
get to that. We could do that in 2 sittings. That'd be funny.
Do an intermission, but like a day.
But like 2 weeks in between.
Yeah, I mean,
Watchmen
we
Part
did
1.
Wonder Woman. We did a commentary on that, and that was great. That was
we did, yeah,
one of my favorite commentaries we did. So,
and some of those bad ones I've already got commentaries on with Duke. I mean, I realized that Manias we've always thought of as a different thing, where they weren't always like the official commentaries. But these days, there's only so much time in my day and only so many days in my life. Like, they basically are at this point. I mean, we have a lot of fun with them, and if it's the second time we do a commentary, we sometimes will get a little bit sillier and do goofier stuff like we did with Venom, which worked to varying degrees of success. But I had fun doing that. But anyway, yeah, like with the things that I already have commentaries on, I can't get excited about going back and doing another Catwoman commentary.
Oh, I can't believe you've done that.
And Mutali says you should do Supermania. There's just not as many, but then that would maybe be a reason to do. I mean, we did that second round of that I would be more open to. We did that second round of Marvel Mania, and it was only 13 movies. I think I could drudge up 13 Superman movies when we're talking about animated. And I mean, yeah, I've already done commentaries on the Christopher Reeve ones, but it might be interesting to get DJ in there because he doesn't know them as well.
I've only seen one, the first one. Haven't seen 2, 3, or 4.
And Austin just watched them for the first time, so like it might be fun to get another person in there, or for just you and I to do those, like we did with Marvel. But you're doing new things you've not done before. I don't know. I would be more open to that. That sounds like more fun.
Cool. We'd have to always pronounce it Supermania.
I will fall asleep intentionally in Superman Returns and just make you do the entire commentary.
Oh no, I've only seen that once.
Right. Are we still in the helicopter? Have we left the helicopter yet? Nope, we're still in the helicopter.
That would be the best commentary ever. Since you've done a commentary on that, right? So yes,
yeah.
You just fall asleep.
I've done all those with Oliver. Yeah.
You wake up and you keep saying, "Have we got to the helicopter yet?" And me and Austin say no, and then you go back to sleep again.
David Jones, we already have a commentary on Thor Ragnarok.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
John Ty, Superman versus the Elite is the best. It is really good. I've been hearing that come up a lot more lately as people's favorite of those animated movies. How many Super Chats do we have left?
Over 10.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me try to get a little bit more brief if I can. Go ahead.
All right, 5590 ERS.
Hi.
199 favorite commentaries you've done on the channel.
Ooh, wow.
Just what we're talking about.
Yeah, fun question. My most fun commentary ever was the first round of Marvel Mania when we did Spider-Man 2, and I left for 20 minutes to go get McDonald's and bring it back for Eric.
Eric just ranted about the movie
while he complained about a movie that people love. That was one of my absolute most favorite things. I also really enjoyed. I mean, it is Marvel Mania's my absolute favorite. They're just most fun I had on them. We also did a literal blind commentary on the theatrical version of Daredevil, where we didn't watch the movie, we blindfolded ourselves. That was also really fun. But as far as like regular commentaries go, hey DJ, what do you think is the best one we've recorded in that second batch?
I would say either Logan or Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh really? Spider-Verse. Well,
I guess I was just thinking like my favorite ones.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't know if we were that insightful on that one, but I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, I think Logan, even though it was our first one and we were like a little nervous, I think that was pretty good.
I think that one did turn out really well. I was actually really surprised by how much fun I had doing the Ragnarok one, even though I don't like that movie. That turned out surprisingly okay.
Yeah, we were totally in sync on that one, so that was fun to do.
And then another one that I really enjoyed was when Eric and I did the Spawn commentary, where we did a commentary over McFarlane's commentary.
That's amazing. Man, if I could ever do one of those, it would be the Hoodwinked commentary. Do you even know what that is? That
No.
animated Red Riding Hood movie. For some reason, I've seen the commentary to that like 3 times. I watched it a lot when I was younger. I don't know why.
Oh,
I really
weird.
like that movie.
Oh,
Anyway,
I thought he was asking about commentaries we've recorded.
yeah. I was just saying if I was ever going to do a commentary on a
Oh,
commentary.
I'm sorry. For a second I was panicking. I was like, "Oh wait, DJ's answering the question," and I didn't answer the question.
No. Just based on the last thing you just said about the commentary.
I think one of the better, I'm just talking about the ones that were most fun to record. I think, and unfortunately, only one of these is still on the channel. I think one of the best things we did, just for the sake of like scholarship, was way back in the day when Vince and I did the commentaries on the Fleischer cartoons, because I did an insane amount of research for that and really learned those backwards and forwards, and I was really happy with how those turned out. But yeah, I don't know. We've done a lot of commentaries on the channel. I could go on.
Yeah, and I just mentioned it, but our Wonder Woman commentary went really great, and that's probably the one I prepared for the most.
You were really prepared for that.
I haven't prepared for the Manias as much as I did for that one. So
that actually might be the best commentary you and I have recorded, despite the Manias have gone well. But I mean, I think that actually was probably our best commentary, and I think that was the first time you did one.
Yeah, that was my first one.
Wow.
So I was like freaking out, like I got to be prepared for this thing.
Acted like it was a blue book test. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get rolling here.
All right, Philip Kelton.
Hi.
Discord link?
Discord link. Yeah, I can post another one if you need me to. We've got a permanent one up now. So the last time I posted it on social media, you can that one works. But yeah, I can certainly go post it again.
We should probably post that to the channel. You know,
we should
have links on the channel page. We should probably do that. And
I'll do that. There. So look for that. Try to remind me, DJ. Look for that tomorrow. Yeah. I'll try to get that up by tomorrow. Thanks for. I didn't even think of that. I'm dumb. Yeah, I can just put it there.
Philip Kelton, another one. The internet is filled with fake perception and narratives,
well,
and
sure.
so the outside world. but they lies created by the system. Is he quoting something there?
I don't know. I'm not sure what to.
He has to be quoting something. I don't know. That's over my head if it's a quote.
I am. Let me look at this again. The internet is filled with fake perception and narratives of the outside world, but lies created by the system. Okay. I don't have anything to add to that. I'm sorry.
It's just the truth. I'm just kidding. All right. Oh, here's $5 back again. You take my $5 bill and give me 5 $1 bills. Then
okay.
I take those ones and trade them for 20 quarters. Is it still the ship of Theseus?
It's amazing. $5. I mean, any way you slice it, it's not the same $5 bill, but it might as well be because it does the same thing.
Seriously. Oh, that's great.
That was wonderfully metaphysical. You really made me think there.
I require elaboration.
Despite all those fake perceptions and narratives, I have a different perspective on the world now, and I really appreciate that.
They lies. Maniac Man.
They lies!
$2. Have you checked out Amazon's Invincible yet?
I still haven't gotten around to it, no. I'm probably going to wait until the first season is finished. Because I've not had time to look at it. My time's been crazy limited lately. Getting ready for twins, we've been having to get our house ready, and we've been having to buy some things for that. And at the exact same time, I've got a 2-year-old that is the hardest 2-year-old I've ever had out of our 3 kids so far. And he's just a handful, and he takes a lot of attention. And you got to watch him like a hawk right now because he's just curious about everything, so he wants to take things apart and rip into things, and he's not malicious, but he doesn't know that he doesn't understand cause and effect yet. So I mean, you gotta really stand over him right now, and that's made it difficult for me to spend any time doing anything I'm not reviewing. And since I didn't get to the Invincible pilot for how we felt about right away, I haven't been prioritizing it, and that's not material that I know. I've always meant to read that, but I haven't. So So yeah, I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Cool. All right, Philip Kelton.
But I want to, and I'm going to, and like I said, I'm probably just going to wait until that season's done.
Yeah.
Daniel Davis, I apologize. That's my plumbing. The only problem with the bunker with shooting down here is we don't have everything totally soundproofed. So if somebody uses a sink or a toilet or something upstairs, there's plumbing that runs through here. I am having twins, Dig and Spear. We're having twin girls, and in 3 to 4 months.
Oh, that's nuts.
It's nuts.
Philip Kelton, another 50 Mexican pesos super chat. Let's hope we understand this one. Loud minorities are earned media in the eyes of companies. It's their nature, but they are more a result of platforms encouraging that behavior.
I agree with that, and I don't have anything else to add, but I think you're right. I think it does encourage that behavior. I think it's a mistake. We gotta move on, but I'm totally with you on that. I don't know why corporations listen so much to just a small group like that's not necessarily even keeping them in business very often. And I mean, I think some of it has to do with cancel culture and just a fear, just a fear of their affecting or infecting, however you want to look at it, people that are keeping them afloat.
Yeah, and I think loud minorities could trick us into thinking that they're much bigger than they are a lot of the time.
That's exactly right, and that they're the mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's $5. Back at it again. If Eric isn't here to discuss Armor Wars when it's out, no more $5. Heck, I'll still be giving you money. Who am I kidding? Here's $5.
I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Yeah.
I love your addiction, sir.
Look, Eric's got other things to do, man. He's got his own life. He can't do this all the time, and he is. I hope you won't mind my mentioning this. He's just not as interested. Part of it is in talking about current as he used to be. He feels like a lot of the MCU just isn't for him anymore. Is part of it, and just the way. The volatile nature of fandom and stuff these days, it just stopped being as much fun for him, I think. I hope he doesn't mind my saying that. But like he's cool going back and talking about fun things that he already likes a lot and wants to talk about. But I don't think he's as interested in sign flips on brand new stuff as he once was.
Way to go, fanboys! You drove Eric away.
Well, I really sympathize with that, and I walk a line all the time trying to keep this as much fun for myself as I possibly can. But it's part of why I don't review everything, anymore. Like I kind of once tried to do as far as superhero stuff goes. And full disclosure, it's also the reason I don't read all the comments anymore. There are certain videos that I will skim comments on, but others that I just won't look at all because it's just not good for my mental health. It's better to just move on and keep making stuff. And I feel like I do enough interaction with you guys live like this that we're still having a discourse, and I don't have to necessarily read everything that comes my way. It makes it smoother, and I don't have the time.
Yeah. That's why you just watched 90-year-old Tarzan movies, because nobody cares and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Oh, okay, that's great advice. DJ is saying live in the past.
Yes, live in the past in media, for sure. I support that 100%. 5590, yes. Worst TV show finales you've seen? Ooh.
Wow. I mean, the obvious things to say are Lost and Dexter, and a lot of us feel the same way about those. And Lost, when it was first on, I didn't have that with. And then the more I've gone back to it, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know what's happening. So yeah, that Smallville is the absolute worst, though. The absolute worst finale I've ever seen is Smallville. Second to that is the Enterprise finale. And the Enterprise finale actually is technically worse, but I think Smallville... No, they both pissed me off equally, actually. Maybe I hate them both the same, but I do. With a burning passion, hate both of those things. So yeah, those are the big ones.
Yeah, those are good answers. You did that well on the spot.
Thanks.
Here's $5. You want a question? Fine. I'll give you a question. What is the best thing you've spent $5 on? Here's $5.
Wow, I don't know. Probably a movie or a video game. I got
Can't get much for that these days.
Yeah, but like sometimes there'll be really good older things that aren't thought of as worth as much, but are still, great and worth going back to. Like, I just started trying to play through Mass Effect 2, and I'm terrible at those kind of games, and I'm having a hard time getting very far because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to adjust to the gameplay, which is going to make people laugh, but I'm just not used to those kinds of games. But I think I bought that for $5.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Not necessarily the best thing I paid $5 for, but I got that for $5. I don't know. There's probably a great answer to that. I just can't think of it. Like, I don't know. There's probably like a comic that was worth quite a bit that somebody didn't know what they had that I bought that was like close to $5. Like, I can't on the spot.
Yeah,
I can't
really
think of it, but I'm sure I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was a sniff from Push. Have you ever seen Push?
I haven't.
One of the abilities that they have, sniffers, they can like touch an object and immediately get like flashes to everything all the history of that object because they're like trackers. Anyway.
Did you oh, sorry, let me cover this real quick. Jedi Knight, I refuse to watch Lost and Smallville because everyone says they have bad finales. I can totally appreciate that with Lost because that's a thing that kind of lives or dies by whether it sticks to the landing to some degree, although I would say that the first season holds up fine if you don't care that much about the mysteries, as just some really great character drama and like some really good one-off singular episodes. So if you didn't do anything else, go back and watch the first season. Smallville is a different show after a certain place. And so like the finale shouldn't necessarily kill it for you because I think there's a place where somewhere around 5 or 6 the show takes a turn and jumps a shark to a place where it's just not the same show anymore, and that sort of happens in 4 also. But there's
I would say at least watch 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3, yeah,
because that's the show that they started making.
DJ, we're over an hour. How many super chats do we have left?
We've only got a handful, 5.
Okay, do you want to try to take 10 minutes, or do you want me to do them later?
I can take 10 minutes. I know you have to get to After Dark, but yeah, I can try to get through these last.
I do, and so I apologize to Patreon for being late on After Dark, but let's go ahead and try to knock as many of these out as we can, and then give us like 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll come back for After Dark, and I'll bring on Austin and Brandon, who's actually coming down my staircase right now.
Ah, creaky Brandon. This is just one from Philip Kelton, another one about the problem he was bringing up earlier. He says the problem is not that power corrupts, it's that the world breaks you. Like in BVS, Clark has to deal with the fact that the world wants to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, I think both can be true, most assuredly. I don't know. We might be splitting hairs and arguing over semantics when I talk about the fear of cancellation and that kind of thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about image and stuff.
OAW Entertainment. OMG, Cap, I just got an idea.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different comment when he said that, because he said, sorry, I was getting ahead of myself because we've got so many of these to do, and I thought I knew what question was about to come up.
Sure.
But I would also say that that's something of a semantical thing too, as far as like power corrupting versus breaking you. Like that's part of where the corruption comes from. A lot of it is like public pressure and stuff. But that's interesting that you're making a distinction between those. I apologize. I answered a different question that I know you're going to ask later.
Oh yeah, I see that one. OMG, Cap, just got an idea for the Smallville 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Jason's complete list of questions to ask Jarrell when he gets to heaven. # comedy gold.
That's a brilliant notion, yeah. One thing we're definitely going to be doing for Smallville this year is some father and sons on that show, as much of that as we can do. We haven't had time to watch much lately, but we're halfway through the first season, and we'll finish that hopefully soon, and we can at least do a video on that soon. I don't know how much outside of that I'm going to be doing, but you'll at least get some season overviews where, especially once I get past 3, where you can hear me talk about some things you haven't heard me talk about, even with Jason there. And I'm sure Jason will have some amusing, responses and insights and things, observations.
All right, here's $5. Roses are red, violets are blue. I hate rhyming. Here's $5.
Thanks, man. I also, on the spot, hate rhyming.
All right, guys, everybody ask Cap to do his best rhyming.
No! I enjoy it in writing. Like, one of the most fun things about No Scrolls was writing that rap. I didn't think I could write a rap. I was actually kind of happy with how that turned out.
Cap's raps. We're going to end the show. That's how we're going to end every show.
Cap's raps.
Oh, thank you. Here's $5. That was great. Mr. Roboto, Clark goes to Metropolis. What of the Crypto Freaks?
Yeah,
Good question.
either they just stop bothering, like somehow they know that there's no Clark around to mess with anymore, or there's still a bunch of people dying all the time because of Crypto Freaks, or he took out a lot of them. I mean, the thing you got to keep in mind is that there was a second meteor shower that created a bunch more Crypto Freaks, and when he goes to Metropolis, he wasn't dealing with them as long as he was dealing with the first batch. So there still have to be some around doing things.
That's so. How was there a second meteor shower? Where did it come from?
It came from a prophecy that Jarrell had where he knew there was another meteor shower that just had to happen for. Yeah, you don't know about this? There's a second meteor shower.
I've seen it. I blocked it in my mind apparently. But like the planet exploded. They all went.
That's
out.
the end of 4. They're really vague about where it comes from, and it's not. Yeah. I mean, like, it can't be Krypton again, but it is kryptonite, and it's creating more Crypto Freaks. And it really watches like they just needed to make sure that they had a way to bring in more Crypto Freaks, even though they had gotten away from that formula some.
Nobody would have cared if we just found more kryptonite. Like, that's so weird.
Oh, no, it's 8 Shades of Insane.
All right, Dylan Mush. I've got to learn.
Mushiello is how I always pronounce that. We've got
Mushiello.
So we're gonna do what we can in 5 minutes, and more super chats keep popping up. I'm gonna ask folks to stop throwing those in, if you don't mind. I appreciate it certainly. But 5 more minutes, and then if we have any left over, we'll just tack them on to I guess next Thursday's show, because we're gonna have a Marvel Mania on Tuesday. And by the way, that is for Spider-Man: Far From Home. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
9 o'clock on next Tuesday. So late in the evening, but pop in if you have the time. Go ahead.
All right, 10 Eastern. Trivia time. This is from Dylan Michelle. I'm going to do this from time to time, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Question. In Spider-Man...
No one's ever done this. I love this. I haven't heard the question yet, so it might suck, but I love this idea. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Go ahead, DJ.
In Spider-Man 2002, what does Norman bring as a gift for Thanksgiving? I will give you multiple choices if you need.
So I know that Peter brings... Does he bring the cranberries? Yeah. Norman brings... God. And I just watched this again recently, too.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen it in like a decade.
Do you remember it right off? This is a great question, by the way.
I want to say pie, but that's because Spider-Man 3, where he's like, I love pie. That's the other
and then he goes, so good. That's Jason's favorite part of that, by the way. Jason and I have recorded a video now on the first 3 Spider-Man movies, and you guys are gonna love that when it comes out. He's hilarious in that. I don't know I don't remember right off. I should.
Is it?
Oh, nobody's saying it in the comments either.
What would Norman bring? He's a rich guy. It's not wine or anything.
No, and it's not a thing that would cost a lot either. I think it's just a normal Thanksgiving kind of. Is it the yams? Does he bring the sweet potatoes?
Yams, maybe? That sounds right.
I don't think he brings the turkey.
I'm totally spacing, and so is everybody else.
Yeah.
Everyone's okay. I guess we'll just.
That's my guess. I love the idea of folks asking me trivia.
And a good one too. That's a good question.
That's a great question. Yeah, well, I love that. If it's the turkey, that surprises me. I didn't think he brought the turkey.
I don't have a visual of him walking in with a giant turkey.
Well, he was there already. We get into that. Don't we get into that scene?
Someone said fruitcake. Is that right?
It is the fruitcake. No, that's right. It's the fruitcake. Yep. Good call. That's definitely it. And I remember that because when Norman leaves, he says, "Enjoy the fruitcake." That's the last thing he says.
I did not think of that.
Yeah.
It's late, guys. We're sorry.
It was not the yams.
That would have been better, though.
It would have been.
Enjoy the yams.
Enjoy the yams. Do what you need to, whether than broom or fast, and enjoy the yams.
Oh, this opportunity looks so much better.
We were not the only people that couldn't remember that. A lot of people in the comments trying to figure it out didn't know it. But I know for sure that's right. Yeah. Great question, man. Boy, did I enjoy that. We spent too much time on it, but I really enjoyed that.
That was great.
I don't know who brought the damn yams, OAW. I don't know. All right, DJ. He's really upset about this.
Philip Kelton. It's not so much cancel culture as much as their attempts to keep the perceived image in the public's mind and controlling the narrative.
Yeah, and that's where I was. That was the question I answered. That's what I'm saying. That I mean, I think it's a bit of both, and I think that they're very, very linked things. But again, I appreciate the distinction. Okay, two more. Let's knock them out.
John Ty, people would want to be Superman, but everyone acts like Batman because people distrust others like Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree that everyone acts like Batman, but I think a lot of people have more of the inclination to want to be more like Batman because they think that that's more attainable, or they think that his methods seem more like, more believable, more, realistic. You'll get your yams when you fix that damn door.
Even rhymes. And then closing it off, someone said there are no yams that way, Wolverine.
Billy the Kid Lawrence. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of yams.
That's my new favorite thing. Can we work that into every quote?
Just put yams everywhere.
Oh, that's amazing. And then last super chat of the night. Here's $5. Cap and Jason created Lonely Chips.
We did.
Cap is experienced in songwriting masterpieces.
Oh, thanks, man.
Here's $5.
I know you're just making fun of me, but I appreciate that. All right. Well, folks, thanks a lot for joining us tonight. We're going to have to go ahead and wrap things up right now. We're trying really hard to end this off in an hour, and the last couple we've made it to an hour 10, so we've gotten really close. We're doing okay with this. Next Tuesday night, once again, a new episode of Marvel Mania, so look forward to that, and that'll be 9 o'clock Central Time at 10 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll have another one of these next Thursday night, talking about whatever the news of the day is, if anything interesting comes up that we want to chat about, or just another Ask Me Anything. But DJ, I have kind of missed these non-themed ones, and we haven't done one of these in a little while, so I wasn't sure what kind of turnout we would have, but you guys showed up and made it great, and can't do it without you, so I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, these ones are great. We always get weird things out of these ones, like turtle robins and canned yams.
And yams. It's just because Cap can't remember the fruitcake. Bruce Wayne goes to Descartes. He was like, there were 6 fruitcakes. I counted 7, Mr. Wayne. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching once again. We'll see you again real soon with After Dark on Patreon. So give us like 10 minutes, and I and Brandon will be back for that with Austin. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez.
Damn straight.
And you guys are great. Later, folks.